Hello and welcome. In this session, we are going to look at how we can detect collision in our game. That is, somebody hits or throws the ball towards the pin and collides with it. What we want to happen is that we like for the pin to disappear. We're gonna have a sound being played, and we're gonna have a score incrementing. All right, so stay tuned. Hope you're having fun creating this simple Python game. All right, so let's go right ahead into it. All right, so we're gonna make a method at this time, and this method is gonna be used to check for collision. What we're gonna do is we're gonna use Pythagoras theorem to measure the distance between 2 points, and that is what is going to tell us if there is a collision or if there is not a collision. All right, a very simple formula is used by Pythagoras theorem. I'm just gonna show it on screen so we can have an idea. All right, so here is a little graph sheet. And what I wanted to get from this is how we go about finding distance between 2 points. So here are 2 points, x2, y2, x1, y1. So to find the distance between these 2 points, we can use a simple formula, x1 minus x2 or x2 minus x1. It doesn't matter because if you use x1 first, then x2, if further you're gonna square it, you'll get the same answer. All right, so it's x1 minus x2 or x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 or y1 minus y2 all square. All right, so once that is done, then we will find the square root of that answer, and that will tell us how far apart the 2 points are. Now we're going to be using this basic formula to tell how far away the objects are from each other in order to determine if there's actually a collision taking place in our game. All right, so let's look into that. So within this method, we're going to be just creating a method for collision. So let's indicate, show a comment here, check in for collision. All right, so we're checking for collision between two turtles. All right, so I want to just define the method collision, or rather is collision. Let's increase readability with that name, and it's taken in two turtles, so it's going to be T1 and T2. All right, so a lot of times when we're playing, we're scored based on collisions. For example, you're firing a bullet. If the bullet hits the target or hits the enemy, then of course a collision would have taken place, and then you would actually receive a score. All right, so we are going to implement this. So what we're gonna do now is we are gonna do the calculation for the distance. So the distance is equal to, now distance is equal to, we're gonna be using the math library, so I'm gonna have to import that later on. So I'm gonna be using from math, I'm gonna be using sqrt, that's for the square root. And then we're gonna work out the square of the powers, that is the square of the difference between the points. So we're gonna have the square root of everything. The first thing that we want to find is mod that sq power. So use power to the 2 for square. And what we want to find the power of is t1 that x score. So it's t1 that x score is the first turtle x coordinate minus the second turtle x coordinate. All right. And what we're doing for this, the power that we're using is a power of 2. That means we're squaring, right? So it's x1 minus x2 plus, again, we are going to have to find the power, this mod that power. All right, and inside here is going to be T1 dot Y car. So the Y car here returns the Y coordinates, just like in a graph sheet. So it's the T1 Y car minus T2 dot Y car. Right. And that will work out the distance. So you need to indicate that I'm going to the second pole, and you notice that completes the pole, and this one is for the square root. So the figure that I'm going to get for distance, it's going to tell how far apart the objects are. All right. Now, I'm going to check to see if two objects have been collided. I'm going to assume a distance between them. You can always adjust it if it doesn't work for you. So I'm going to say that if the distance is less than or equal to, say, 15, if distance is less than or equal to 15, we are going to count this as a collision. All right. So anything that you want to happen if a collision takes place, this is where you're going to put it. So I'm just going to return true for now. Now, if the distance, if it's not true, it's going to say else. Let's return false. All right. So there are many other things that we could have done. So for example, if a collision actually occur, what we can do is that we can increase the score. Another thing that we're going to be doing is that we are going to let the pin disappear. So we're going to let the pin disappear if a collision takes place. And I'm also going to let it disappear, and I'm going to change its Y coordinate as well, so it comes asking. All right. So the pin, just for those who probably weren't here, so the pin that we would have created is called pin. All right. So if it's true that a collision took place, what I want to happen is that yes, it's going to return true. But before it returns true, what I want is that the pin. All right. So I want the pin to be relocated. I want it to disappear off the screen. All right, so I'm going to say pin.hide turtle. Now, bear in mind that even though you hide it, it is still there, and you can still have collisions, even though the pin is not cannot be seen. All right, so it's pin.hide turtle. All right, so I'm going to change the Y coordinates. So I'm going to say pin. So we're going to set the Y coordinate. I'm going to say set Y. I'm going to set it to negative 300. That means it's out of the space that we're actually using. All right. All right, down here as well, in our while, all right, I'm also going to check to see that if there's a collision, what I want to happen as well is that the ball will come back to the ready state. So I'll put R is collision. That is, if collision with the ball and the pin, all right. So is collision is going to return true. So if the condition here is true, that is if the y coordinate goes beyond 250, it will come back to the ready state. Or if there's a collision, it will go back to the ready state. All right, so let's compile this so we can see what happens. So we have a little error here. So we're saying if, so there must be something before the if. So what is it? Say distance. And there we have it. Right, so, oh, I didn't import mat. So let me just jump ahead and do the import for mat. So we won't have that problem. So I've imported turtle, but I didn't import mat. So I can import mat. Let's see if any collision is taking place. It collided. Great. So there we have it. So we have our collision taking place. All right. So in our next session, we are going to look at how we can enhance this collision method so that a score is added, and also we are going to look at how we may play like a sound whenever the collision actually take place. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. All right. Have fun coding.